All right, so let's trade our smartphones in for a charming red phone booth
Okay.
and hop a flight straight to Paris because
Ooh la la.
today we are taking a deep dive into the world of Amélie.
I love this movie.
So good.
You might be thinking another movie analysis.
Right.
I practically live at the cinema.
Uh-huh.
But trust me, this isn't your average film review.
Oh, no.
We're going to unpack why Amélie isn't just a French film.
Mm,
It's a cultural phenomenon.
totally.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
You're in for a cinematic treat.
What's so interesting here is that all of our sources, they don't just gush over Amélie's, like, whimsical charm.
Yeah.
They actually dive deep into, like, all the mechanics of the magic.
Oh, cool.
You know, we're talking the cinematography, the
Yeah.
storytelling,
Yeah.
even the music.
Right.
It all comes together to create this world that feels both familiar
Oh, I love that.
and extraordinary.
Yes. Okay, so before we get lost in a montage of Parisian scenery, let's start with the heart of the film.
Okay.
Amélie Poulain.
Yes,
She's a waitress.
she is.
But she's also this wonderfully imaginative soul navigating life in Montmartre.
Such a good setting.
Right.
Yeah.
A neighborhood as quirky as she is.
Yeah, and what's brilliant is how they introduce her character in the film.
Okay.
It's not this typical, like, hero's journey
Yeah.
setup.
Right.
Amélie stumbles upon this hidden childhood treasure
Uh-huh.
in her apartment.
Wow.
And it's this small event that sets off, like, this chain reaction
Oh, wow.
of kindness.
I like that.
Mhm.
It's almost like that discovery unlocks something within her.
Mm-hmm.
This desire to bring joy to others.
Exactly. And that's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
The film portrays all these acts of kindness
Yeah.
as a way for Amélie to bridge her own sense of isolation.
I
So
see.
it's like she's using these
Yeah.
orchestrated moments of joy
Right.
to connect with the world around her.
Okay, so it's not just about her being like a good Samaritan.
Right. It's about her own journey of self-discovery,
Got it.
her yearning for connection.
Yeah.
And we see that reflected in the vignette structure of the film.
Yes.
All these little slices of life
I love that.
that piece together not just Amelie's story,
Mhm.
but like the stories of her neighbors as well.
It's like a Parisian tapestry.
Yeah,
I love that.
it is.
Yeah, the vignette structure isn't just a stylistic choice either.
Okay.
It actually allows the film to explore these supporting characters' lives.
Right.
Like Dominique Pignon,
Yes.
the grumpy grocer,
He's so good.
and Jamel Debbouze,
Yes.
the awkward love interest.
Yeah.
Each of them just adds another layer to this really vibrant community.
Which brings us to the visuals.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to lie, Amélie is pure eye candy.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
But let's go beyond simply saying it's pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the color palette.
Yes.
It's a masterclass in mood setting.
Mm-hmm.
Think warm sepia tones,
Okay.
like vintage photographs.
I can see.
Punctuated by these vibrant greens
Yes.
that make the foliage like burst off the screen.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it creates this fairy tale atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
but it's grounded in the reality of Parisian life.
It's like Paris itself is a character,
Yeah.
like a painted backdrop to all of Amélie's adventures.
I love that.
And speaking of characters, can we talk about Audrey Tauto's performance?
Oh, she is Amélie.
She is Amélie.
And Tautou manages to convey a whole range of emotions
Yes.
with just a glance.
It's incredible.
The source material actually mentioned
Oh, wow.
how viewers reported feeling so connected to Amélie's inner world.
Great.
Like they were experiencing her thoughts and feelings firsthand.
There's this one scene where she's watching Nino,
Yes.
the object of her affection, from afar, and
Sure.
her eyes are filled with this longing and this hope, and it's like you can hear her heart beating.
You can.
It's phenomenal.
It's those subtle moments,
Yes.
the way she uses her eyes and her gestures,
Mhm.
that make her performance so memorable.
Yeah, and perfectly complemented by the
Mhm.
whimsical spirit of Montmartre itself.
Absolutely.
A neighborhood that just seems tailor-made
Yes,
for a character like Amélie.
it does.
Okay, so we've got this captivating protagonist,
Yes.
a visually stunning setting, and a really unique way of telling the story.
Yeah.
But what are the big takeaways?
Love share.
What's the film really trying to say?
Well, on the surface, it's a celebration of kindness
Okay,
and finding beauty in the everyday.
I like that.
Yeah, those are the themes that initially draw you in.
Oh, boy.
But as you go a little deeper, you start to see how the film tackles these
Yes.
more complex ideas,
Right.
like the interplay between solitude
Mhm.
and connection.
Right. Amelie's acts of kindness,
Yeah.
they aren't just random acts of generosity.
Right.
They're almost like a survival tactic,
Right.
a way for her to navigate her own sense of isolation.
Exactly.
It's the nuanced approach that elevates the film beyond like your typical rom-com fare.
Exactly. The film doesn't shy away from those, like, darker emotions.
Right.
But it ultimately offers a message of hope.
Okay.
It suggests that even in the midst of loneliness,
Yeah.
even in a bustling city like Paris,
Mm-hmm.
we can find connection,
Yeah.
meaning, and maybe even a little bit of magic.
And the music.
The music.
You can't talk about Amélie without mentioning Jan Tiersen's score.
It's so good.
It's not just background music.
No, it's not.
It's woven into the fabric of the film.
Think about the scene where Amélie sets up the scavenger hunt
Oh, yeah.
for her neighbor. Tiersen's score
Yes.
doesn't just accompany the scene.
Uh-huh.
It becomes the feeling of excitement
Yes.
and discovery.
Right.
It pulls you right into that moment.
It's brilliant.
That's so good.
I'm already hearing La Valse d'Amélie in my head.
I know, me too.
It's like the soundtrack to A Parisian Dream.
It is.
But before we get totally swept away by the music, let's take a closer look at this world that Genet has created.
Right.
I mean, Montmartre isn't just a setting.
It's not.
It's practically a character itself.
And the way Junie designed the sets,
Yeah.
it's like he took this real-life neighborhood
Uh-huh.
and just infused it with a touch of magic.
Right.
Amélie's apartment,
Yes.
for example,
Yeah.
is this like cluttered, cozy space
It is.
that perfectly reflects her personality.
It's like stepping into a storybook,
Yes,
but one that still feels grounded in reality.
totally.
It's this unique blend of realism and fantasy
It is.
that really sets Amélie apart.
And it's not just the sets.
Right.
It's the cinematography,
Yeah.
the editing,
Yeah.
the whimsical narration.
Mm-hmm.
All these elements work together to create this world that feels both familiar
I love it.
and extraordinary.
So we've got this incredible protagonist,
We do.
this visually stunning backdrop,
Yes.
and a soundtrack that could make even the most cynical Parisian swoon.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But let's dive a little deeper into these themes that are simmering beneath the surface.
Okay.
The source material mentions connection,
Mm-hmm.
solitude,
Yeah.
and love as key elements.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's safe to say that Amélie's journey
Yeah.
is about more than just finding romance.
Okay.
It's about overcoming her own sense of isolation
Right.
and finding these meaningful connections with others.
It's like she's building bridges
Yes.
with each small gesture,
Mm-hmm.
each carefully orchestrated act of kindness.
It's true.
And in doing so, she's not only helping others,
Right.
but she's also helping herself.
And the film acknowledges that connection can be scary.
Okay.
It requires vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know, Amélie's hesitation,
Right.
her fear of rejection.
Yeah.
That's something I think we can all relate to.
Absolutely. Putting yourself out there takes courage.
It does.
And speaking of courage,
Yeah.
let's talk about the director himself,
Okay.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yes.
His vision is so central. What makes Amélie so unique?
Genet's fingerprints are all over this film.
Okay.
Our sources point to his meticulous attention to detail,
Uh-huh.
his whimsical style,
Yeah.
and his uncanny ability to blend realism with fantasy,
Right.
which makes it both charming and thought-provoking.
It's like he's created this world
Yes.
where the ordinary is infused with a touch of magic, but it still feels relatable.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so compelling.
Right.
Like, think about that scene where Amélie imagines herself as a superhero
Oh, yeah.
leaping across rooftops.
Uh-huh.
It's clearly a fantasy sequence,
Yeah.
but it speaks volumes about her desire to make a difference
I love it.
in the world.
Or the photo booth scene
Yes.
where the pictures come to life.
I love that scene.
It's whimsical,
It is.
but it also highlights her loneliness and
Mm.
longing for connection.
Exactly.
These fantastical elements,
Mhm.
they aren't just there for visual flair.
Right.
They're deeply connected to Amélie's emotional arc.
Genet's a master at using these visual metaphors
Yes.
to explore
Yeah.
these deeper themes.
Mhm.
And he doesn't shy away from showcasing solitude
Right.
as a part of the human experience.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
It would have been easy to portray Amélie's journey as
Mhm.
simply find a boyfriend and live happily ever after.
Totally.
But the film digs deeper,
Yeah.
showing us that connection isn't just about romantic love.
It's not.
It's about finding a balance
Yeah.
between solitude and engagement with the world.
The source material actually highlights how viewers reported.
Oh, wow.
feeling more attuned to the beauty of their surroundings
Really?
after watching the film.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like the film recalibrates your senses to
Interesting.
appreciate the everyday.
It's like it gives you permission to slow down,
Yes.
to notice the little things, to find joy in the mundane,
Exactly.
even if you're not on a whirlwind Parisian adventure.
And that's a message that resonates with audiences,
Yeah.
especially in our fast-paced world,
Right.
where we're constantly bombarded with distractions.
It's true.
Amélie reminds us that happiness doesn't always come from those grand gestures.
Okay.
It can be found in the quiet moments,
Right.
the simple pleasures,
Mhm.
the shared experiences.
So it's not about eliminating solitude altogether.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot, that equilibrium,
Yes.
where you're comfortable with your own company, but also open to connection.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Amélie creates this intricate web of relationships
Exactly.
through her acts of kindness, building those bridges between her inner world
Yes.
and the outside world.
And let's not forget the role of music in all of this.
Right.
Jan Tiersen's score
Yes.
isn't just a backdrop.
Yeah.
It's like a secret language that speaks directly to our emotions.
I love that.
You know, the playful melodies, the melancholic waltzes, the soaring strings, they're all perfectly calibrated to enhance those moments of joy,
Yeah.
introspection, and longing.
It's like the music is an extension of Amélie's soul.
Absolutely.
Didn't you say?
100%.
Think about the scene where she helps the blind man
Oh, yeah.
experience the sights and sounds of that bustling street.
Yeah.
Tiersen's score doesn't just accompany the scene. It becomes the feeling
That's
of
right.
heightened senses,
Yes.
pulling you into that shared moment
Yes.
of human connection.
It's a masterclass in using music to tell the story.
It is.
And it's not just about matching the music to the mood.
Yeah.
It's about using those melodies to deepen our understanding of the characters and their emotional journeys.
You know, it's fascinating how Amélie
Yeah.
seamlessly blends these different elements.
It does.
Visuals, music, storytelling,
Yeah.
to create a world that feels magical and authentic, even though it's set in Paris.
Right.
The themes it explores
Yeah.
are universal.
They are.
We all crave connection.
We do.
We all search for meaning,
Yeah.
and we all have that potential to bring a little bit of joy into the world.
Absolutely. The film taps into that shared human experience,
Yes.
reminding us that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's always beauty to be found,
Yeah.
connections to be made,
I like that.
and magic to be discovered.
Yeah.
If we just open ourselves up to the possibility.
Well said.
Thanks.
You know, it's easy to get swept away by Amélie's whimsical charm,
It is.
but there's a lot going on beneath the surface.
Oh, yeah.
It's a film that invites us to think about the power of small gestures, the importance of human connection, and the magic that exists in the everyday.
And let's not forget the impact it has on viewers.
Right.
As we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
people have reported feeling more attuned to the beauty around them after watching Amélie.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like the film gives you a new perspective, a renewed appreciation for the little things
Yeah.
that often go unnoticed.
It's almost like a cinematic reset button,
Yes.
reminding us to slow down, to pay attention,
Yeah,
to savor the moment.
I love that.
And in a world that's constantly urging us to do more,
Right.
achieve more, be more,
Yes,
that's a pretty powerful message.
it is.
But before we get too philosophical,
Yeah.
let's talk about something a little more concrete.
Okay.
The role of the director,
Right.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet,
Yes.
in shaping this masterpiece.
Okay.
We've already touched on his unique style
Yeah.
and his ability to blend realism with fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But what else can you tell us about his approach?
Jeunet is known for his meticulous attention to detail.
Okay.
Everything from the color palette to the set design
Yep.
to the casting
Right.
is carefully considered.
Wow.
The source material describes his process as
Oh, cool.
like a symphony of visual storytelling,
I like that.
where every element works in harmony
Yeah.
to create this cohesive and immersive world.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
The film is so visually rich,
it is.
so full of quirky details and playful imagery.
Yeah, you can tell that every shot was carefully planned
Yeah.
and executed.
Exactly. Shani's not afraid to experiment with different techniques,
Yeah,
but he always does it in service of the story.
always.
Like that scene where Amélie uses her slingshot
oh, yeah.
to break her neighbor's gnome
Wow.
and send it on a world tour.
That was so fun.
It's a whimsical touch that reveals a lot about her character.
It's those little details
Yeah.
that elevate the film from a simple story
Right.
to a cinematic experience.
And it's not just about the visuals.
Yeah.
Janae is a master of tone and pacing.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how to balance moments of humor, pathos,
Yeah.
and romance, keeping the audience engaged from beginning to end.
Right. He's not afraid to let the story breathe.
Yeah.
To allow for moments of quiet contemplation.
Right.
Amidst the whirlwind of Parisian life.
It's like he understands that sometimes the most powerful moments
Yeah.
are the ones where nothing much is happening.
Right.
But we're still captivated.
Exactly. And that's a testament to his skill as a filmmaker.
It is.
He trusts his audience to connect the dots.
Yeah.
To appreciate the nuances. And to find meaning in the silences.
Yeah. And speaking of silences,
Okay.
let's circle back to the music for a moment.
All right.
We've talked about how Jan Tiersen's score is like another character in the film, but I think it goes even deeper than that.
Okay.
It's almost like the music is an extension of Amélie's own soul.
Yes.
Expressing her emotions in a way that words can't.
Absolutely. The music gives voice to her unspoken thoughts and feelings.
Wow.
Adding another layer of depth to her character.
Okay.
Think about the scene where she's riding on the back of Nino's scooter.
Oh, yeah.
The music swells with this sense of exhilaration and freedom.
I remember that.
Capturing the pure joy of that moment.
Yeah.
Or the scene where she finally confronts her fear and confesses her feelings to Nino.
Yeah.
The music becomes this delicate, almost hesitant melody.
Right.
Reflecting her vulnerability and hope.
It's brilliant how Tiersen's score manages to be both playful and profound, mirroring the film's own blend of whimsy and emotional depth.
And it's become so iconic.
It has.
Those whimsical piano melodies are instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
Transporting you back to that world of cobblestone streets and cozy cafes.
It's true, the music has taken on a life of its own.
It has.
Becoming synonymous with that Parisian charm that Amélie so perfectly captures.
And I think that speaks to the film's enduring legacy.
Yeah.
It's not just a movie.
It's not.
It's an experience.
It is.
It's a world you want to get lost in.
I do.
A world that makes you believe in the power of kindness.
Yeah.
The beauty of the everyday and the magic that exists in the most unexpected places.
I love that.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we started this deep dive, I thought we were just going to be talking about a charming French film.
Right.
But we've gone deeper.
Yeah, we have.
It's become clear that Amélie is so much more than that.
It really is.
It's a film that works on so many levels.
It does.
It's visually stunning.
Yeah.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is.
But it also grapples with some pretty profound themes.
Right.
Loneliness.
Yeah.
Connection. The search for meaning in a world that can often feel meaningless.
Yeah, and it does all of that without ever feeling preachy.
Right.
Or heavy-handed.
It's like a delicate souffle.
Ooh.
Light and airy.
Yes.
But with a surprising depth of flavor.
That's a perfect analogy. And I think that's part of the film's enduring appeal. It's a film that you can enjoy on a purely surface level.
Totally.
But it also rewards repeat viewings.
Right.
Revealing new layers of meaning each time you watch it.
Exactly. And for those who haven't seen it yet,
I
highly recommend it.
Yes.
It's a film that will stay with you long after the credits roll.
Oh, yeah.
A film that might even inspire you to see the world with a little more wonder and a little more kindness.
Well said.
It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's always beauty to be found,
Right.
connection to be made, and magic to be discovered if we just open ourselves up to the possibility.
So after this deep dive into Amélie, we encourage you to watch or rewatch the film with a fresh perspective. Pay attention to the details that we've discussed, the way the visuals tell the story, how the music reflects Amélie's emotions, and how the film explores themes that resonate with all of us.
It does.
And who knows, you might even be inspired to sprinkle a little Amélie magic into your own life.
You know, it's interesting. Thinking back to when we started this deep dive, I initially thought we were just going to be focusing on like the cinematography, the whimsical aspects.
Right.
But as we've gone deeper, it's clear that Amélie is so much more.
It is.
Than just a visually appealing film.
Right. It's like a film about finding beauty in the everyday.
Absolutely, and embracing those little moments of joy.
Yeah, those small acts of kindness have such a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's not just about Amélie's journey either.
Right.
It's about how her actions inspire those around her.
And how we as viewers can be inspired by that as well.
Totally.
It's like the film gives us permission to be a little more whimsical, a little more kind.
A little more Amélie.
Yes, exactly.
You know, one thing that stuck with me is how the film portrays Paris.
Okay.
It's not just this glamorous backdrop.
Right.
It's a living, breathing character.
Yeah, it is.
With its own quirks and secrets. Yeah, and Junet captures that so beautifully.
He does.
I mean, those cobblestone streets,
the
cozy cafes, the bustling markets. It's all so evocative.
And it makes you want to book a flight to Paris immediately.
I know, right? But even if you can't hop on a plane to Paris, I think the film encourages us to find that same sense of wonder in our own surroundings.
To look for the magic in the everyday.
Exactly.
And to maybe even perform a few random acts of kindness.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Amélie. Sad to see it go.
Yeah, I know. But what a journey it's been.
It has.
We've explored the film's captivating visuals, the charming characters, and the heartwarming themes.
Right. And I hope our listeners have gained a new appreciation.
Me too.
For this modern classic.
So until next time, keep seeking out those little moments of joy.
Absolutely.
And remember,
a little
bit of kindness can go a long way.
Couldn't agree more.